Hi friends, this is Plant Lover Neil and you are watching Plants My Love. This is an update video of our jasmine grown from cutting. You can check that video out if you have not seen that video. In that we have described how we grew jasmine from cutting, how we selected the branch, how we prepared the branch for cutting. So this is the final result video. This is around 42 days have passed and now we'll check that the jasmine cuttings have developed roots or not. So let's get started.
Welcome friends, this is my backyard garden and as you can see this green patch is my mint plants. Isn't that doing great? Anyway, over there you can see that is my jasmine plant. These cuttings that we had started around 42 days back, we'll now take a look at what's the result of it. First we'll remove this humidity dome. As you can see I've changed the packet. This packet now holds better humidity than the two combination of packets that I had used before. And there you can see the leaves are looking very healthy and you can see the vivid green color. There are flower buds also present in some of the cuttings which we'll remove, but you can see almost all of them are looking great from the top. As you can see, the semi hardwood cutting also has some new growth on it. The best one is the softwood cutting, that is the green stem cutting, and you can see the leaves that I had chopped half has not fallen till now. And some of the thinner cuttings that we had just planted to trial lagging behind, at least from the top growth. You can see these small tiny thin cuttings, but the larger ones that we actually planted is doing quite well. Now we'll see the root development. We'll first remove these support. These are wooden sticks that are placed so that plastic packet does not stick to the plant. We'll remove all of them one by one. And now we'll gently remove the perlite. I like the perlite very much, for at least for rooting. It's excellent medium since the chances of any pathogen growing in it is quite low, like a fungus or a bacterial problem will not happen if you use perlite as rooting medium. So if you are planning to clone your plants via cutting, I would suggest you use perlite. And here we go. You see how those lovely root structures are there? Isn't that great? This is the result after 42 days, and you can see my 15 days update video. At that time there was not a single root on it, and so basically in around 20 days this root development has happened. And I'll gently remove the cuttings that have developed the root. You can see the roots have started growing into the paper that I had added at the bottom to prevent the perlite from leaking out. So I have to be very gentle so that the roots which are just developing do not get damaged. You see, going inside the paper, gently remove it, tearing off the paper. There you go. And look at that vigorous root growth. There's a little bit of top growth too, but the root growth has been much better. And you can see the roots have started emerging from the node area. You can check our first video where we talk about how to select the branch and from where to cut the branch. So in that I've discussed in detail why root development happens in the node region only. Okay friends, as soon as you remove the cuttings from the growing medium, we have to place it in water. So I'll place these cuttings in water so that they do not dry out and the roots remain nice and fresh. See lovely root growth from the node region. Between the node region there is no root growth, but as soon as we hit the node region, you can see all around the roots have started coming out from the stem. We'll now check these thinner cuttings and you can see there are no root growth in this. Okay, so we are now remove this semi hardwood cutting, and as you can see there is one tiny root emerging, not as vigorous as this softwood cutting, but there you go. So that's why it takes a little more time for semi hardwood cutting to develop root, but it will develop root there. And mind you, we are growing this in very harsh climate. We have got an average temperature at present of 42 degrees centigrade, maximum average, and the highest temperature was around 45 to 46 degrees centigrade, and still these plants developed root. That was because we placed it in shaded region. You can see this huge root system of this plant. Lovely. This is awesome. It's like a fish bone structure. And there at the top you can see there are some buds. We'll remove these buds because at present we don't want it to use its energy in flower development, that will hinder the root growth. We just want it to focus in developing nice root system. So out of the, I guess, 7 cuttings, 2 have developed very nice root systems. I place this in the water so that it doesn't dry out. And over here you can see at the bottom there is one tiny root that is emerging. It's not there. You can see now, tiny white root. It's also got a flower bud. We have to remove it. Okay. All the cuttings have succeeded in at least surviving. 2 of them have rooted quite nicely. 2 of them have just started rooting, and they will ultimately grow into a nice plant. So this is how you root jasmine plant from cutting. Now I'll transfer these 2 cuttings they had rooted vigorously into their individual container so that they start growing roots in growing medium. So I'll use, instead of a sterile perlite medium, now I'll use normal garden soil, because now the roots have started developing, so the plant is not that vulnerable to infection from fungus. So now I will take the pots out. These are around 7-inch pots. I'll first remove half of the growing medium. So basically this is 50% garden soil and 50% homemade compost. You can see there are some big chunks. You can remove them. Basically those are mango seeds that come from a compost pile. So we'll now remove half of the growing medium and then place these cuttings gently. You can see how nicely this looks like a fish spine bone. Okay, so we have placed it in the center like this, and now we'll backfill it gently so that the roots are not disturbed. Now the plant is stabilized. You can now use both your hands like this, fill the back up. So that is the first cutting. Now we will do the same process for the second cutting that has developed nice root system. At the bottom of the container I have placed the newspaper. This prevents the soil from leaking out and provides a good drainage, because these pots have got quite large number of holes. So if I do not place this paper, initially the soil will leak out if it's completely dry. Now I'll fill this back like we did previously. So now I'll keep these 2 plants in a shaded place. I will also add a humidity dome. For the first week I'll keep it in a shaded place. Then on I'll place it in an area which receives nice sun. Once the plant is stabilized, I can then put it in full sun. We'll keep the other cuttings back in the rooting medium, that is in the perlite. So I'll now first add this paper at the bottom to prevent the perlite from leaking out. And these cuttings will also develop roots, so I'll allow them to develop the roots. It will take, I guess, 30 days more for these cuttings to develop roots. So we'll now one by one I will add these cuttings back in the container. Be gentle with them so that the roots do not get disturbed. Tiny roots which are developing. There we have added all the cuttings. Now we'll fill it completely to the top so that the cuttings are supported well. Remove the perlite from the leaves. With a gentle pressure, you'll make sure that the perlite has got good contact with the cuttings. There. Now after you transplant them into a new container, make sure to water them thoroughly. Since I have used a completely dry growing medium, I have to water it till water starts coming out from the bottom. So I'll water all the 3 pots thoroughly. I'll be using this spray bottle so that the growing medium does not get eroded, and we get a nice uniform flow of water all throughout the medium. You can see how porous this medium is. As soon as I add water, it completely absorbs it. This is because of the high organic matter in the growing medium. Since we use homemade compost, it becomes quite loose and porous, which is excellent for growing plants. We do not need a medium which does not absorb water or is quite hard and tough. So that kind of medium is not good for growing plants. You just have to add nice organic homemade compost to any garden soil, that is any soil that you have at your property, and over a period of time, it will take some time. Previously we had a very hard soil. It was a clay soil and it used to form large lumps, and it was very bad in absorbing water. The water used to form puddles. But once we started adding organic compost, this is the result after multiple years of adding organic compost. You can see this nice potting soil has been created. Now the monsoon season is going to start. I stay in the Gujarat state of India, and here the monsoon arrives around July 1st and it stays till around October 1st. So during that time we receive a lot of rain and the temperatures also go down. So in India, to start plants, especially in our case, we are in the tropical arid climate of Gujarat. The best time to start a garden is in the monsoon season. Because of the favorable temperature and humidity, plants can be grown easily. You just have to keep a watch on pests like insects, like caterpillars, because they tend to attack plants in the monsoon season. Okay, we can see at the bottom the water has started coming out. So make sure that you water it thoroughly so that the water starts coming out from the bottom. Now we'll add these supports one by one. We'll place this back in the humidity dome. We'll add water around the humidity dome so that the moisture builds up nicely. First we will water the growing medium thoroughly. Now we'll add the plant back in the humidity dome. You can see the water is coming out from the bottom. We'll remove the buds if any are present. That way the plants can concentrate on root development and gently place it back into the humidity dome. And now before we close the humidity dome, I will water it around. This will create a nice humid climate for the cuttings to develop roots. Now we will seal it. If you do not have a greenhouse, this is quite effective to maintain high level of moisture. I have added holes at the bottom of the packet as well as at the top, so the air does not become stale.
I hope friends you like this video. If yes, smack that like button. Share this video with your friends and family, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel Plants My Love. It's going to be quite busy season right now. The monsoon or the rainy season is going to begin, so there are a lot of videos planned. So make sure to hit that bell icon to get updated as soon as we release a new video. Thanks for watching friends. See you later. This is Neil signing off. Bye bye.